Hey guys, welcome back. This is Quincy Lee Schmechek here, and thanks for watching my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be discussing something very near and dear to my heart, budgeting.
I am a millennial.
I think all of us millennials can relate to the fact that being an adult is hard. I understand what it's like to live off of a pretty lean income and be completely self-sufficient on it. What really got me into budgeting was a few years back. I still had debt. I had student debt and I had car debt, totaling about $15,000. I was doing my taxes and I came to realize that all the payments I had made towards my student loan were offset by the interest that it was earning. So I focused and I said, hey, I'm getting rid of this freaking debt while I'm trying to really forge a life for myself. So I'm going to give you some basic tips. I've got 5 general tips for you. Keep watching and hopefully we can get you on track with your budget. Goal numero uno, I think, is the most important concept when it comes to a budget, and that is you should have a goal or a motivating reason why you're making this budget. Budgeting really does take discipline. For me, as I've already stated, the motivating inciting incident was the fact that I had $15,000 in debt that I wanted to get out of my freaking life. Like, it needed to go. Maybe you want to buy a house, maybe you want to buy a car, maybe you want to take a really nice trip. It really doesn't matter. A budget is all about you and what you want to accomplish with your financial goals. Rule number 2. This is a very common equation in the budgeting sphere, and it's called the 50-30-20 rule. So 50-30-20 basically is breaking down how much your income needs to be dedicated to which sections of your life. So 50 is for your overall expenses. These are the things that, you gotta pay. That's rent, that's food, that's gas, bills. 30 is actually allocated for quote unquote your wants. So let's say that means going out to eat, going shopping, going on cute little trips, whatever it may be. This should really be not too much of your budget. If you're spending more money on your wants than like your expenses, there's a misbalance there and you really got to check it out. Lastly, 20 is for your savings. 20 seems like a high number to be stashing away every paycheck or every month, whichever way you want to structure it. But in the end, when you're putting away 20% and you get used to that allocation, you're gonna watch your bank account grow and you're gonna be really happy with yourself. My 3rd rule, having some sort of spreadsheet in order to document all of your expenses and to keep track of your budget. Just having like mental math in your brain, it really doesn't serve you because let's say you keep swiping your debit card for necessary things, you don't really think twice about it. Next thing you know, you look in your bank account and you're like, I can't afford to save as much money as I was thinking I'd be able to. So it's really important to be able to document it and keep track of yourself and your expenditures. You can also see what kind of habits you have, and let's say you're buying a $5 iced coffee every day or several times a week, you can really gauge where you can cut back and make it that much more feasible to get to your financial goals. So I wanted to show you guys my budget and what I started out with when I first started this journey. So from what you can see here, I have 4 categories. I know it's a lot to look at, but just follow along with me here. So in this yellow region, I have all of my debt. Because this was the main focal point of the reason why I started budgeting, that was like, hey, these are the numbers that I want to look at every single day and say, I want to get these numbers down. Next, in my pink section, are all of my expenses. So from what you can see here, I actually had a lot of little expenses. And over time, I managed to bring everything down when I was in certain places of need. So what I would do is start off putting the budgeted amount, quote unquote, in order to say, hey, this is kind of what I need to be making if I want to hit these goals. And here in the actual column is what actually was happening. So you can see I didn't get an electricity bill that month. Our electricity bill comes every 2 months, so it's a little bit unpredictable sometimes. And there were little areas that I actually undercut. So this health section, I probably didn't go to the classes that I thought I was gonna go to, for instance. And I also made it under my food and gas section. So I wasn't driving a lot and I wasn't like buying too many excessive groceries. So I managed to save and come in under my anticipated necessary budget. Next, I have my income under the green for cash money, honey. So as you can see, I documented the dates of every payment that I received, and then it totaled to this. As you can come to a conclusion, I made less than what I was anticipating to be spending for the month. So I don't recommend setting it up this way if you're first starting off. I felt really confident about my budgeting skills, so I knew there was going to be some wiggle room in my life. But if you are not somebody who has been disciplined about this before, don't do this. Next over here, I have sort of a breakdown of every little thing that I spent over the month. It might seem annoying to document all these little things, but like I said, when you're first starting off, I definitely recommend, and I categorize them too, definitely recommend doing this because it helps you, again, see these patterns that maybe you have, so that you can hopefully, remanage your lifestyle to better fit your financial goals. And then over time, if we take a look, you can see from April to May, I went down in my interest. I started pulling in more money, etc., etc. Over time, I managed to get these numbers down. And then, finally, I think it was January, December was my last hurrah, and I was able to get rid of my last debt. My birthday's in December, so I got a lot of Christmas money, I got a lot of birthday money, so I really just repurposed that and was like, hey, you know what, I'm on this financial journey, let's get rid of this debt, let's go. And by January, my motivations had changed. So now it was more about, just kidding, I still had a loan here. Whatever, I was like in the less thick of it. I was like, hey, now that the debt is out of my life, let us refocus on making some money. And I think this year I had made the goal to seeing how much I was able to save and direct towards my financial freedom. I was like, I am capable of making 50 grand. Tip number 4, I think it's probably the best tip, just for realistic purposes. I like to say that in order to be disciplined, you have to set up a system of rewards. So when you're on a strict diet, for instance, it's not really smart to go all out on that, because at some point, if you're going from one extreme, you're most likely gonna flip out of it because you get so sick of it. Budgeting is not about being so hard on yourself about your money that you don't enjoy your life. No, it's about repurposing the money that you're making and being able to get the things that you most enjoy while also, creating a future for yourself. I always had a personal budget. I was like, I like to go out to eat. I like to go to concerts. So I need X amount of money every month in order to do these things. And you have to make sure that it fits in the budget, but be sure to incorporate it. You deserve it. My final formal tip is be able to be flexible. Sometimes you set a budget for yourself initially and it's just not feasible for you. Maybe, you got into an accident. Maybe you need to reaccount for how much you go out to eat. There's a little push and pull here, because if you're excessively doing something and it's messing up your budget, maybe you need to cut back. And if you're not being fair to your lifestyle and your choices, then rework the numbers and make them work for you. Because again, this isn't about being militant. Yes, there is a lot of discipline involved, but in order to stay true to your goals, you gotta adjust the strategy sometimes. I know for me that when I first started doing this, I realized that most of my fun money were being spent on the weekends. I broke it up into smaller chunks and said, okay, well, this is my personal balance for the month. Let me allocate every weekend this much amount of money. So it made it easier to look over the course of a month, because I'd say, well, I know I have this concert coming up that I want to drop $150 on. So let me chill out on this weekend so that I'm not messing up my budget. And those are my 5 tips. Let me know down in the comments how you feel about them. I'd love to hear your stories about your budgeting, and I'm here to help. It's something I'm really actually weirdly passionate about. I just find it so fun to be an adult, be financially free, and now that I've saved up a lot of money, I can do whatever the hell I want with it. And that's a really great feeling, and I hope all you guys get to experience that too.